strap yourself in
because we're set up, switched on, and ready to go.
Listening just got better.
Welcome to the Urban Wave.
Presented by
Your host with the most, Mesuli Masenze Wednesday.
Hey, yo, what's up? This is the Urban Wave, Mesuli and yeah, man. Today is our first show on the Urban Wave. We got Penny. I forgot her surname, but she says Penny for your thoughts as like a tagline or a show. I don't know. You explain. What is it exactly? Like Penny for your thoughts.
No, I think Penny for Your Thoughts would be a show in which you just pick my brain on whatever it is that you want to talk about. So it would basically be me sharing my thoughts on topics, whatever it is that you can come with. So that's what Penny for Your Thoughts is.
We're not saying hi to anybody. Okay, I said hi, but you just jumped in it. But then, yeah, man, it's just one of those unscripted.
Okay, apologies for that, but I mean, sometimes you just gotta get straight into it. But then, hi to everybody that's listening. Just like he says, this is unscripted, this is raw, this is truth. So this is a show in which you can talk about anything at any given moment, whatever you're thinking, whatever you're feeling. So this is what this is.
Cool. Look, Penny, the weirdest thing is that, I don't know you that much. You know, I don't know a lot about you, but somehow, like the first time we met, I think there was just that vibe. I think I did tell you about it, which was so amazing that I got from you, you know. And look, I want to know who Penny is. Like what is it about Penny that a lot of people would not know that know you, or that you would like people to know, that's something that's, you know, I don't know, that maybe makes you different from everyone else? I don't know, maybe we can go to that.
Okay, I think let's not focus on relationships. I haven't found the one. So let's park that one. I know we said we can talk about anything, but let's park that one. But in terms of who Penny is a chill person. Penny is an ambivert, which means it's sometimes intro. It's ambivert. It means I'm sometimes introverted, I'm sometimes extroverted. So I'm the person who wants to go out sometimes. I'm like, yes, we're doing this. And sometimes I'm like, get away from me. Let me stay indoors.
Some
Dictionary terms, guys. Read books. Let's read books. But basically, Penny is pretty much the same person that she was, I think, in primary or high school. Just a girl from a little town in Limpopo, Phalaborwa, and I've always kind of been the exact same person that I was back then. Even my friends would know that. So yeah, ambivert, guys. Read books.
Ambivert, Mesuli, ambivert. But yeah, man, look, I think I looked forward to this interview, you know, even though I got thrown off a bit, you know, technical issues and stuff. But I just think there's just a lot that, you know, one can take out from another person. So I'm here to learn from you, you know. I think we all have issues. I think we've shared offline, I've shared my issues, you know, or not issues, but something that is closest to my heart, which is, you know, me being a recovering alcoholic addict, you know, and you shared a story with me, and which was kind of interesting, you know, because that was something that was also, I guess, closest to your heart, because it affected your family. Somebody in your family, or it affected everyone else in the family of what happened, you know. And look, I know now we're going somber and, you know, we're going deep into stuff, but look, it's at the end of the day, I think we all have something that even if we've never been through it, there's people around us that have been through it. And I'd just like you to share a bit, just on that part, of like what was going through your mind when that was happening at that time, or were you too young at that time when it happened? I don't want to drop names. You know who it is, and I think that story, because I think what stood out for me was how you came out with the story to me, when you shared the story to me about how it's still affecting, I think it's your uncle, if I'm not mistaken, till this day. And to me, it was almost like I felt helpless, because at the end, not at the end, but if it was then and it was happening at that time, maybe I could have done something different, but it happened on the time that I was still inactive, I was still doing my own things, and maybe I was still having fun at that time. But yeah, man, just maybe run us a bit on that part of the story.
Okay, so I actually have two stories for you, actually, fortunate enough for that, but without name dropping or anything. So I do have a cousin, she's late now, who OD'd on drugs, but it's still something that at that time I was still too young to understand. So we were just told that she passed away. We couldn't actually understand that this was what had actually happened. But even till this day, this happened, I think, more than 15 years ago, if I can remember correctly, somewhere around there. But it's still something that affects my uncle. It's still something that affects the family. It's still something that the family wants to sort of keep as a secret and not touch on. And even with my late cousin's son, it's not something that they discuss with him. It's a matter of your mother just passed away. There is no story.
I think he was still very young.
Like, he was still very young. He was still very young, way younger than I was at that time. But so that's actually a story that I don't have key details in, because I too was young. So most of the things that I do know about that was stuff that I read in the media, having chats with my parents and them being open and saying, okay, this is what happened. There's drug addictions. This is what actually happens to people. But the one that I can comment on was a friend of mine that I grew up with, went to the same high school. We're really close with him, but he actually, I don't want to say he ruined his life, but it led to him making a whole trail of bad decisions that led him into a situation that at the time when he got sober, it was too late. In the sense that I didn't go into detail with regards to his story, and hopefully one day we'll have him here to share his side of things. But this friend of mine, also without name dropping, he had been addicted to drugs as early as high school. So he had a troubled childhood, so his only resort, according to him, was using drugs. So he'd be on drugs, and to make things worse, he was also a rebel, so he was very aggressive. He had anger issues, so it would be the drugs coupled with his anger issues, and it would cause him to get into fights all the time at school. He was that guy. When you've got that guy, Kukasi, you're like, this one, if there's a fight, call him. Ukona, like that one. So that was him. Yeah. And for people around, it was fun. But for me, I'm like, there's something wrong with him. Can we just try and help him? What is his family saying? Do they see this? Does his older brother know that he's on drugs? Is there any way we can help him? So there was a time that I moved away from that town, so I didn't have contact with him to check up on him and stuff. Only to find out that the last I heard from him was a friend of mine calling me saying, "Your friend, dude." So I'm like, what happened? So in my mind, I immediately thought he OD'd, right? And only to find out that he got into a really bad fight where he ended up stabbing a person and this person died. Yeah. Which immediately led to the police getting involved and him being sentenced to prison for 7.5 years for culpable homicide. So when he was in court, because I actually attended one of the hearings, when he was in court and they'd asked him to retell the story and to, walk through it, he couldn't remember anything. He had blacked out. He was mixing cocaine and something else, and he had blacked out and ended up killing someone. So when you told me about your story, I was like, do you realize how fortunate you are? There's so many people that have different stories to tell. You have people sitting in prison cells. You have people who are not even alive anymore to say, you know, I was involved in this. This is where I am. So it's a really good story to tell in terms of I got out without having the scars. I'm not saying you don't have any scars, but you don't have the scars in comparison to what other people have on this. For you, your scars are yours to wear. For the people that have passed on, it's for the family to wear. You understand? So I think without taking this down a dark and gloomy path, I think it was a good thing that you brought it up, because it's things that we need to talk about. It's things that we need to be honest about. You need to share your pains with people so that they can at least know, I can go and talk to Penny because she's been through this. I can go and talk to this person because he's been through it. You understand?
Yeah, man. Look, Penny, I guess this is what the show is about. You know, this is one of the things I think, I can't call it the foundation or the main point or main, I don't know, direct whatever about the show or having this podcast, which is the Urban Wave. But in most interviews, things like these we'll be touching on. You know what I mean? Because I believe, like you said, everybody has their downfall, you know, and I'm also grateful that I didn't end up in jail or 6 feet under, because those are the two places that I could have ended up in. By God's grace, somehow, somewhere, there were things that I could have been arrested for. There were places where I could have died, but, you know, somehow, some way, the God of my understanding like took me out of those places, you know. And like I said, we all have, I might think my rock bottom was the worst, you know, and everyone has their own rock bottom, you know. You said it's your cousin, or is it a friend of yours?
Friend of mine.
Your friend of yours, like your friend, that's his rock bottom, you know. Maybe it had to go down that line. To me, when you're telling me that, you are reminding me, if I go back, that could be me. Because there's this magic word, yet. You know what I mean? So that's why till this day, I'm still taking it one day at a time. I don't know when it might happen again. I'm not looking forward to that day, but I just know today I'll be okay. You know, I'll be okay, I'll get through this. It's not like now that I'm so many years clean, so many years sober, I've got this and I can control myself, or I can drink and use like other people. It's not possible. I learned it was a disease. Like you said, you recognized there was something wrong with him. He didn't know what was wrong with him. You know, and I was fortunate to actually get that information. You understand? And that's another thing, Futhi, that I know we romanticize this thing with us black people, but it's the truth. I've seen it, I've experienced it, that I ring it into Siras, you know, sometimes. You know, we wait until Holy Lady, we wait until, like, basically these things become a norm around the black community, that we don't do anything about it. You get what I mean?
I don't think it's so much that we don't take it seriously. I think, okay, yes, we don't take it seriously, but it's not to say that we don't see it. We see it. You see that uncle, your favorite uncle, who's got who abuses alcohol. You see that cousin of yours who's on drugs. You see these things. Even if your younger sibling is doing something that he's not supposed to, you fully see it. It's a matter of what do we do with that information. These are things that people see. We just don't want to have these tough conversations. You just don't want to sit someone down and say, okay, Penny, this is getting a bit too much now. Don't you want to talk to someone? This is exactly why you still can't feel comfortable enough to say, I'm depressed, or this. It's like we see it, but we don't actually believe in depression, or we're not going to talk about it. It's uncomfortable. How do we diagnose something that we don't understand? So I think that's the problem that people still have. We know these things are happening. We just don't want to talk about it. We don't want to address it. We can totally see that it's going down.
Yeah, I hear you. And Corey, the thing is, there's this other part of SA or society or the black community where when I say things have become a norm, like Honano, already there's some friends of mine that call me Umfundi's pastor because I don't do what I do. I don't do what I used to do before, which was drinking and stuff. Banlebola already. You know what I mean? And they don't recognize what I used to. They don't see what I used to do. They don't remember. Let me put it that way. They don't remember what I used to be like. They forgot how I used to be like. They used to point fingers at me when I was in that state, when I used to do the things that I used to do. But now that I've changed, it's still a problem. You know what I mean? And it's not that I'm gonna go and preach to them today, stop what you're doing. There's some friends that I see that are going through this, but I'm just a living example. You know what I mean? I can just plant a seed and say, yo, there is help. You know, because I'm not ashamed of what I do, you know, meaning now that I've quit, you know, I am part of a program which helps me to stay sober, to stay clean, you know, and I'm not ashamed, even at work, they know that. On my forms, I do write alcoholic, you know, because if anything happens, if there's an emergency, I faint, injection, they have to be careful. You know what I mean? Because if it contains alcohol, we don't know what it might do to me. So that's why there's a certain way that our society or where even if you give, I used to laugh at people that sit around moving where they talk about, like there's an AA meeting, people are sitting around in a circle. I used to make jokes about that. I didn't know I'd end up there. You know what I mean? I didn't know I'll end up there. You know, so in where we still make jokes about these things. You understand? To me, it makes sense. Yes, that person is an alcoholic. That's how we translate. You understand? When I am sick. It's like just normal words that just come out, and like it's a norm. Like everybody just. I get about it. When is it gonna click? You know, we have a meeting. There is help. Like I can say 500,000 population. I'm just exaggerating. Let's say 300,000. But in that meeting every Sunday, there's only 8 people. Now imagine the shit that happens there. You know what I mean? In terms of direct results of alcohol and drugs. We go out to community radio stations, we go out to churches, we go out to hospitals, we go out to police stations to get the word out there where there is help. But somebody will come one day or on that day, Adula Hanyane, nah, this is not for me.
I think to reiterate your point, I think how I feel about it is it's not going to be, I won't see it as necessary for me until I'm in a position where I can say, you know what, now I actually need help. Your rock bottom, you got to your rock bottom and you decided I can't anymore. So until someone else gets to that point where they actually say, I can't do this anymore, that's when they're going to want to seek that help. And in terms of your circle, the people around you who reminded you or who were there when you were going through what you were going through. I keep telling my friend this. So I've actually been to prison to see him, I think 3 times. And I tell him, like, check your circle. The people that were with you when you were drinking, the people that were doing lines with you, these are the people that you're going to have to avoid when you come out. These are, these are the people that you're going to have to be strong and saying no to. Because remember, each and every single thing that you go through, as much as I might have went through the same thing, our experiences weren't the same. Our rock bottoms, like you say, aren't the same. So you can't expect someone else on the outside to understand what it is that you're going through and to remember exactly where you were. They could see where you were, but they weren't experiencing it the way you were. They didn't have to go through your withdrawal symptoms when you decided to quit. They weren't there for that. So that's just like, Get one fela, guys. Like, you can't just drink one dampe one. You have no idea what that's going to spark in your body. The memories, it's just one hit. You don't know what that one hit could actually kill you. So it's just a matter of understanding that people will not seek help until they come to their own realization that, you know what, this is enough. Until people come to that, they're going to keep pitching up for a minute and saying, you know what, it's not for me, and leaving. And that's okay. I'm not saying don't keep pushing, because someone will listen eventually. But people have to come to their own realization of their own rock bottom at some point.
Yeah, no, got you. Yeah, you're right. You know, because I think now the problem that I do have is, the weird thing is that we know, but we don't want to know. That's what I'm actually saying. You know, information is out there. I bet you on Wellness Day here at work, out of 17,000, there are people that have drinking problems. 17,000 employees, there are people that have problems, but like you said, I don't know, until they reach that point, you know, maybe that's when everything, but the penny will drop. See what I did there? You know, because look, I don't know, man. Like, it's like, I'm saying I nearly died because of drinking. Like, I think it's the same as with the whole HIV thing, where to me, to someone else out there, it won't mean anything until somebody in their family is affected by it. You know, as long as it does not affect them, you know.
I think to a certain extent, some people know how to learn from other people's mistakes. So I've learned from my friends' mistakes, I've learned from my cousins' mistakes, and not even talking about drug abuse, from everything else, I know how to learn from other people's mistakes. But in terms of you saying I almost died from drinking alcohol, someone else is going to say, I've never experienced that, so why should I stop? Why should I limit? I'm going to keep pushing because I don't know what it is that you're going through. The same way someone will say, I don't believe in depression, until they're there. And then they're going to be like, okay, who can I talk to? I need to talk to someone. So for some people, until they find themselves in the same boat, they're going to ignore the advice. They're going to ignore the resources that they have to their disposal, because it's just not relevant. It's like walking past a room and you know that in that room you can get A, B, C, and D. Until I actually need what is in that room, I'm going to keep walking past it each and every single day. That's just how it is.
Yeah, because to me, it's all about making people quit alcohol. You know, I think it's just about us just being aware and knowing that there is these dangers, you know, not to point fingers, because we put labels on labels on labels on labels on things, like it's almost like we're running away. It's just that awareness, like, you know, just being conscious of what's happening around you, you know, where you tomorrow or I tomorrow can stand up for a cause, you know, for example, you know, women and child abuse, and you like, these guys are sick. Well, when on the other hand, tomorrow you wake up, you don't care about what happened yesterday. So what I mean is, I know, like, my opinion is that alcohol and drugs have a huge role to play in all of these things. You know what I mean? Some people it's psychological, but for him to deal with whatever, or for whoever to deal with whatever, they need something that will suppress whatever it is that they're feeling at that point. So to me, it's just that awareness. I'm not saying everybody should stop drinking now and whatever, you know, because honestly speaking, the current state of our country at the moment, it's messed up and it's sad. You know what I mean? We calling out people. Okay, I think now we're going somewhere else, but I'm not gonna go there because I get very emotional when I start speaking about that part. You know,
I get that, but I think the one thing that we also need to realize is that most people who use drugs, people who are functional alcoholics, as they'd call them, it's a coping mechanism for some people. And this is why, even with my friend, I was like, okay, guys, he needs help. He's going through something because this is his way of trying to deal with what he's going through. Do you understand? It's the same with people who are addicted to painkillers, people who stay, you know, there's people who are always depressed in a sense that their rooms are dark, they're always sitting in the dark, they always want to be alone and stuff like that. So that just indicates to a bigger problem that people, I feel, do not take the time to want to discover about someone. Do you understand? So it's not to say stop drinking, whatever. Each and every single thing that you use to in an excessive way is dangerous. The same way being too happy is a little dangerous. You understand? So it's just everything in an excessive nature is dangerous. But with regards to substance abuse and all of that, these are things, we've all heard a story about a friend that has passed away, a sibling, something, we've all heard a story. But to some people, because it is not their story or they're not close enough to that story, you're not going to take it seriously until it is someone in your circle, in your family, and then you can actually say, you know what, I need to change. Or until it is actually you who is in a pit where you feel like, you know what, I need help getting out of here.
Yeah, it's quite gloomy and very emotional when we're speaking about this thing, when we talk about these days. But you know what, man, there's just a lot that we're still going to cover, you know, and that we're still going to uncover. This is, I can say, it's just a small intro, you know, of where we're going with this. You know, and like I said, it's unscripted and what? Unscripted what? Yeah, it's unscripted. But yeah, man, it's I guess there's still more that we're still going to talk about. I guess this is not the last time that you hear from Penny.
We'll be talking about rainbows next time and all beautiful things and flowers.
Oh shit. Okay, and yeah, she'll be recording and I won't be around. So yeah, man, so thank you so much for listening. This was the Urban Wave. Mesuli, Umshayeli, Ukapatia. So thank you for tuning in. Cheers, bye.